New commitment for Notre Dame in the 2027 class, a four-star offensive lineman and Irish legacy joining the 27 class for the Irish. So please hit the thumbs up on this video before we dive into today's news. Subscribe to our Blue and Gold YouTube channel if you are new here. And of course, go to blueandgold.com for an interview with the young man and more analysis. And the commitment is James Halter, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. So you're hitting a school that Notre Dame has done really well with over the years. The Heinisch brothers went to Central Catholic. I'm a Dolphins fan, so this school means a lot to me. Of course, Dan Marino went to high school there. The son of Jordan Halter, former offensive lineman for Notre Dame, played played for Joe Moore at Notre Dame. So obviously a strong Notre Dame connection there. Number 301 overall player, according to the Rivals industry ranking, number 24 interior offensive lineman. I think ESPN not ranking him might be bringing that down because Rivals and 247 view him higher than the industry ranking. Rivals pretty high on him. Number 8 interior offensive lineman in the country, 6'5", 268 pounds. Tyler, before we started recording, I was interested like what your thought about like him playing guard or tackle the next level. You could talk about that in the film breakdown. What do you see on him on his tape? This is mid-season junior film.
Yes, for people who don't know, he's transitioned from tight end to offensive tackle this season. So a lean body at offensive tackle, very good in pass pro. That's something that shouldn't necessarily come to you naturally in your first year as an offensive lineman, but he's very good at that. That plays with a strong base, extends those arms. There's the snatch technique where you sort of knock the guy down by his hands, and he gets after guys. He's got a good motor. I feel like that's something you talk about with defensive linemen more than offensive linemen. But if you just watch him, I mean, look at him running down the field there to track someone down, and you'll see different instances of that throughout his film. So a lot to like in him in terms of like a project. Like he's obviously transitioning to offensive line, has a dad who played offensive line, so I'm sure that is going to help his development there, and sort of fits into that mold that Notre Dame has liked to take in terms of tackles, athletic guys who have high ceilings that they can really start to mold into hopefully offensive tackles, but we've seen them move into guards at times when they get into their Notre Dame career. So he's a tackle now. We'll see how tall he is when he gets to college, how much weight they can put to his frame. But I think there's a lot to like here about this addition for Joe Rudolph.
I'm going to put you on the spot with this one, but is there anyone like stylistically how he plays that might remind you of like on Notre Dame's roster now or in recent years? Like, not saying he's going to be this player, but just anyone it's like for folks who maybe aren't O-line gurus, and Tyler, this is the position you played, like be like, all right, this is kind of what Notre Dame is getting just stylistically.
The first person that came to mind to me was a young Josh Lugg. And he ended up being more of an interior guy eventually. He's not as big as Josh Lugg was late in his high school career. Josh was more further along in the development process, but that was the first guy that came to mind to me. Maybe, I don't know if that's just a Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area tie that stood out to me, but I think that was someone who jumped out to me. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because Notre Dame has had so many like those offensive tackles who have been great, and so you don't want to like. I don't want to compare a lot of guys to Joe Alt because Joe Alt is a freak. But you can see like the similar track that is there available to him if he reaches that obviously certainly high bar that we talk about if you're talking about Joe Alt.
Yeah, so I'll be interested for like verified measurements on him because that might be a difference between tackler or guard. Wow, it's pretty interesting formation here. His dad Jordan Halter played at Notre Dame when Jim Flanagan did. So there's a pretty strong connection there with James Halter and Richie Flanagan. They've been buddies for quite a long time, and you know it's like, all right, you got a Wisconsin kid, you got a Pennsylvania kid. And they're tight because their fathers have just, been such good friends over the years. And I think Kyle Kelly told us that they like vacation together or something like that. The families, it was something along those lines. So I think that's really cool. And now both committed to Notre Dame in the 2027 class. So yeah, pretty strong start to Notre Dame's 27 cycle. Tyler, of course, you got the quarterback committed in Teddy Gerard. took a little bit of a slip in the latest rivals rankings from the number 2 quarterback to number 5. I think some other quarterbacks may have had stronger junior seasons than Gerard to this point, with him at a new school. But then, of course, you have Ellis McGaskin, who's had a tremendous junior season, Richie Flanagan, we just talked about, and a long snapper in Sean Kraft. So I feel like it's a pretty strong start to the 27 class for Notre Dame, headlined by Teddy Gerard. What do you think about this group so far, Tyler?
Yeah, it's an interesting mix of, like, obviously James Halter and Richie Flanagan are Notre Dame profile kids, right? Like, you don't have to know a ton about them if you just read the first line of their bios. You're like, okay, that guy's going to end up at Notre Dame. But an Ellis McGaskin and Teddy Gerard, those are kids that you don't necessarily expect to always end up at Notre Dame. So I think it's showing a good balance of what Notre Dame is continuing to do with being an offensive line and defensive line driven program, but also trying to expand itself and go into different areas and win high profile recruiting battles for guys like Teddy Gerard and Ellis McGaskin.
And then looking at Halter's offer list, it was pretty legit. I mean, Notre Dame, Penn State, Pitt, Ohio State. I think those were kind of like the 4 top schools to watch for him. Of course, Penn State, after James Franklin gets let go, they fall off. But really, the second that Notre Dame offered, this one was going to end up Notre Dame's way. It was just a matter of time before he was going to commit to the Irish. But still, like, a really strong offer list when you go down the list, especially for someone who just started playing the offensive line position, as Tyler mentioned. So really nice get for Notre Dame, landing James Halter. Like I said, very friendly school for Notre Dame, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. You love to see the Notre Dame legacy side of things too. So yeah, that's a commitment first offensive line pledge for the Irish in the 27 class. You can find more on this over at blueandgold.com. Hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel for more content, and we'll catch you guys next time.